Hello, everybody. My name's Aaron White. Have you ever wondered how vaccinations are used and how they're used? Well, vaccinations are used in a variety of ways, such as to help prevent the spread of diseases and other infections. Vaccinations do not always guarantee the prevention of a disease or infection, but they do greatly reduce the probability of getting an infectious disease or influenza by getting the shot. Many people nowadays are skeptical to get vaccinations because they believe the vaccine can cause autism and other mental disorders. These people are completely wrong. There is no proof or records that show vaccines cause autism or other disorders during early adolescence. Vaccines, in fact, cause quite the opposite. They make a child's immune health getting stronger to help fight off the disease and sicknesses. Now, I've always wondered how the first vaccines were ever created and used. Like, how did this guy come up with a vaccine that almost cured a disease? And how did he use it? Did he use a shot? I'm not sure. Vaccines really came to be in 1796, which was 20 years after our nation came to be. So a medical practice that we've used for well over 200 years is still in effect today in modern hospitals. That's pretty amazing to me. It happened when a medical physician created the first vaccine and set the foundation for modern medicine, which we still use today. The first ever vaccine was created by taking a sample of a cold sore infection, mixing it in a lab with other ingredients and particles to create a semi-cure, they called it. The semi-cure would go on to be the first ever vaccine administered to patients. The origin of the vaccine is only slightly complete, though. There was never a really good and accurate record to show where the vaccine originated from and how it came to be. But the effect that the vaccines had on medicine today is extraordinary and remarkable. Vaccines were really contributed to the welfare and health of society and everyone who gets a vaccine shot. Nowadays, vaccines are a very controversial topic, mostly due to the COVID pandemic. That scared and shocked the whole world into a global pandemic of fear and hysteria. Many people choose a side to stick with during the pandemic. Those sides were vaccinated and pro-mask or unvaccinated and anti-mask. I always felt as if me and my family were vaccinations and pro-mask, but it always seemed like we were the only ones around us doing it, because we lived in Kentucky, which is such a rural town. During the time when COVID struck, that was also the time when the 2020 election was going on. Many political campaigns talked about the COVID pandemic and put the pandemic into categories and sides. Both the election and the pandemic divided the people. The recent election divided upon the pandemic, and the politicians separated the people based on their beliefs on COVID. The anti-maskers and anti-vaccinations were put into the Republicans category and backed by the Republican Party. Unofficially, of course, because the Republican Party could never say that they were not endorsing vaccinations and masks. But you get the memo, they were. I believe that the pandemic was steered in favor of politics instead of helping to keep people safe and at home. However, the maskers and pro-vaccination people were marked as Democrats and often made fun of for doing so. Now, I've always wondered, how effective are the vaccines and how do they work? Now, vaccines have been shown to be highly effective with over a 50% chance to reduce illness and kill the sickness before it even has a chance to affect the body. Vaccines work by a shot that contains a small part of the disease in the serum. The shot introduces the serum into the bloodstream, where the white blood cells laying dormant inside of your immune system come and attack the foreign bacteria and kill it. Each time that the body does this, it becomes stronger at fighting off the disease, and eventually the body's immune system will build a strong immunity to a specific sickness or disease and not be affected by it at all anymore. Now, almost every major hospital in the United States relies on vaccines during the spike of influenza, usually during the winter months. During these months, the rates of flu virus goes high, and it's spread like wildfire as people are highly more increased to get the flu due to people moving around and socializing a lot. To combat this, hospitals release a flu vaccine that people have the option to take. They are by no means required to do so. However, if they want to combat the flu virus and have a greater chance of not getting the flu in the first place, then it is highly recommended that they receive the flu vaccine. Many people have already made up their minds about vaccinations, but for those of you who even have a slight skepticism about vaccinations, I hope that my argument has persuaded you to get vaccinated and believe in the cause as much as I do. Thank you.